Even though the Killing Bites anime series is absolutely drenched in ultra-violent and hyper-sexualized action, I do believe that this series would be perfect on Animal Planet. Oh, Killing Bites, you continue to pull your water from the well of debauchery, and yet this is still a really damned fun show to watch. I loved this episode of Killing Bites, which basically just amounts to a massive battle royale on an island in the middle of nowhere between therianthropes, half humans, half animals, and we get to see a lot of them in this episode. Everything from tigers, gorillas, geckos, and cobras. There are a lot of surprises in this episode right here. Not to mention, crikey, it had a crocodile man. Straight out of Batman, Killer Croc has been placed in this series. Actually, he's one of the fighters for the Sumitomo clan, and he's one of the guys who are going to be going up against Tiger in this episode. The last couple of episodes have made it seem like Tiger is going to be the end-all, be-all fighter. The guy you're going to be gunning for. Basically, next to Leo, this guy is king of the jungle, but he didn't count on going up against some surprisingly strong fighters. A crocodile, a hippopotamus, and a gorilla. What I also loved about this episode is that it made me rethink the possibilities of the animal-human hybrids in this episode. Appearances can be deceiving. That one nerdy short kid with the glasses actually transforms into a gorilla, and only partially. He just makes his arms incredibly big to the point where he can actually walk on them. It makes sense. He comes across as a very intelligent creature, and gorillas themselves are pretty freaking smart. My personal favorite from the episode, though, has to be the crocodile man. Just the overall look of this guy is insanely hilarious. I love the fact that he's basically just a dude with a giant crocodile head. He does kind of look like Killer Croc from Batman. There have been iterations that look exactly like this version, and getting to see him in action is awesome. I truly did love it. Now that I think about it, he also reminds me of Leatherhead from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think that's really awesome. So, at first it seems like Tiger has like the extreme advantage in this battle because Hippo isn't even doing anything. He's just standing back and waiting for his moment. But really, it's the gorilla and the crocodile who fight against them, and the tiger makes them look like a fool. Like, he ends up taking out both of them at once, but this is all a part of a secret plan from the Sumitomo Zaibatsu, because we get to learn that their entire group of fighters consists of reptile people. Those other two fighters, the female, she's actually a gecko, and that one creepy Vegeta-looking dude is half cobra. He also happens to be the most disturbing character of the series, and will probably be the point where people who are continuing to watch might not want to watch any longer, because this episode just dived into some really dark material, which was borderline hentai. Just not my cup of tea. I did not care for it. I watched a cheetah girl have a cobra's tail shoved down her mouth. But I know what you're doing there. Not to mention, this guy makes it very clear that not only does he want to kill and torture his opponents, but he might even want to have his way with them. Hell, the name of the episode alone will tell you about the nature of this episode of Killing Bites. So if you're willing to accept all of the absurdity and craziness of it, you're going to have a lot of fun with this episode. Which is to say, this shouldn't be a surprise. If you've seen the previous episodes of Killing Bites, be prepared for a lot of really over-the-top violence and sexual stuff. So, like I said, this episode was basically just a big action one. Lots of big battle royales between monsters and all types of crazy abilities, freeze framing and naming the attack, you know the deal. But it was really fun how it played out in the second half of the episode, because like I said, they made the tiger out to be like this end-all be-all character. But he actually does get somewhat defeated by Crocodile. After being seemingly defeated, he jumps up, bites down on top of his leg, preventing him from getting very far. And the guy who's actually moving him around on the battlefield, because remember, they're going for this whole like RTS style of having this big match, he has to get to this place, and if he doesn't get there in time, his collar's going to explode, and it's not good when something explodes near here because death. Honestly, this strategy was pretty freaking awesome, I have to admit. They know that they're not physically powerful enough to take down the tiger, so they try an alternative method. And it looks like it's going to work out pretty well in their favor. Even with Hippo getting ready to get involved in the battle as well, there's a lot of great surprises here. And then we have Erza, who is chasing after the gecko, when suddenly she gets lured into a trap by Gecko and the snake, and this leads to the most uncomfortable scene of the episode, where she is trapped by the snake, and she's basically about to be raped. There's no sugar sugarcoating it. That's what's going on. The snake guy is very vocal about it. He even claims that he is going to fuck her with his transformed snake dick. It's just fucked up, to say the least. It really just makes this character completely unlikable, and in many ways a perfect villain who's going to go down in the blaze of glory, especially when Yuya decides he is going to send Hitomi to save Erza, which is a really big moment because it like freaks out all of the other people who are in there representing their Zaibatsu teams. They're like, who is this Boy Scout? What is he doing here? The one rival girl that's sitting next to him who seems to have a ridiculous amount of hatred for him just has the craziest expressions in this episode. You can tell that she really has it out for this guy in the strangest way possible. So Hitomi arrives, and you expect her to be the hero, but honestly she ends up getting beaten pretty badly by the Gecko of all people. And isn't that strange that it was a Gecko that ended up being like the first opponent to really have an upper hand on her? But apparently the Gecko has some really strong, sticky fingers, and when you're the size of a freaking human, they become even more powerful. So she just slings her around like a rag doll, and the sound effects and the impact from all of these attacks, I have to say, are particularly awesome. The sound effects in particular, when she actually does hit, has this huge explosion behind it, which I really love. I know that's a weird thing to talk about, but it's a minor detail that gets lost in a lot of anime, and it makes like these big fight scenes just feel that much more triumphant, if you know what I mean. But of course, Erza does manage to escape. She scratches the crap out of the Cobra dude's eye, and then a big team battle is going to begin. Hitomi and Erza going up against the Gecko and the Cobra, and it was awesome! So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Killing Bites? I don't know what it was, but this episode, like, I was just really getting into it, like, big time. Especially at the end when Erza came back and scratched the Cobra across the eye. Like, I actually, like, jumped up when I saw that. I'm glad that she isn't just going to be a pushover here and she's actually going to deliver a great battle. Although it looks like they're going to be switching opponents here. It looks like Erza is going to be fighting against the Gecko, and Hitomi is going to be fighting against the Cobra. And the preview shows us that they're going to transform even more, which is something that's been hinted at in the series. People can partially transform parts of their body, but the Cobra dude looks like he's going to go full-on Cobra, and that leads me to believe that we're going to see a lot of great versions of these characters. And I imagine the more animalistic they get, more closer to their animal forms, maybe the more powerful they actually are. I wonder if we're ever going to see a scene where Hitomi is going to go full-on Reptile or Honey Badger. I mean, imagine what that would probably look like. I don't know if I want to be perfectly honest, but this was a great, super action-packed episode. It continues to remind me of Bloody Roar, the old fighting game video series. Like, while watching this episode, I was like, man, this would make a really great fighting game. Except that it's just like Bloody Roar in almost every single way. So maybe this could spark about some sort of revival for that franchise. I honestly really did love the concept, and watching it in motion is a lot of fun too. It's Killing Bites. It's stupid, it's fun, it's ridiculous. Don't discount it because of the outside appearance. Take it for what it is and watch it and you'll have a good time. This episode was no different from the previous. It was pretty dang good. It wasn't the best episode of the series, but it certainly had some fantastic moments, and I have to admit there are some parts of the episode where I think they go a little too overboard and it starts to feel a little too uncomfortable, like the scene between Erza and the Cobra. But really, I don't know. I can't wait to see how that battle's going to end. What I will say is this is a 4 out of 5 for me, and you guys should definitely check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, stay damn down, baby.